so tired, I haven't slept a wink. Hey, welcome back. Thanks for joining me. I am so glad that you could make it. Today we're going to talk about stuff. Welcome back as I edge my way to 200 videos. I was looking the other night and I actually posted about 2.5 years ago. It was my first official post. I'm out early this morning because I have training at work for the next 3 days. Yeah, 3 days. And they scheduled it a little bit earlier than I normally come in, but it wouldn't have really mattered. It would have been foggy and gray anyways. I mean, an hour I don't think is going to make a big difference. Survived the hurricane. I made out with really no damage to speak of. A lot of minor debris around the yard. Pine needles, pine cones, pine branches. Pine trees are evil. My wife has wanted a dog for a very long time, since the last one died. The last one was a rescue dog. You know, they say rescue dog, like we personally went in there and unstrapped it from the electric chair. It was basically a free dog. But Jake was a gentle soul, so he was alright. So she wanted a dog ever since he died. And at the time we had 3 cats and another dog in the house and a sugar glider. And there is not much I deny my wife. But I was like, no, we're not getting another animal until we get rid of some of these. So I reached the point where I was like, well, we're never going to get rid of these other animals, at least not in the foreseeable future. And I don't deny my wife much of anything. So I was like, all right, but if we get a dog this time, it's something we're both going to agree on. You know, it's going to be our dog, which sounded great in theory. That's fine. It's her dog. But that was the plan. Now, some people I know have 2 Shih Tzus that are just the right size. They were pretty good dogs. So we got a baby Shih Tzu. 8 weeks old, 7 weeks when we got him. We named most of our animals Star Trek characters. So this one was Mr. Barkley, or Barkley. But Barkley was alone. So we ended up getting a second one. That is actually his half-brother, Benjamin, after Benjamin Sisko, Deep Space Nine. Now, ironically, the dog's name was already Benjamin, so we just didn't even have to change it. Barkley's name was originally Justin or something like that. Yeah. So we have the 2 dogs, really dig them. And yesterday was the day for Barkley to get snipped and chipped. We got him neutered and had an ID chip put in him, which has its own ethical, moral dilemma. Now, I hate to do that to another guy, you know, but they tell me it's for his own good. You know, at the same time, there's several people I know that should probably be neutered for their own good and for the good of society. But he came through it really well. You know, he's a sweet dog. He doesn't seem to be uncomfortable or anything. Unfortunately, he has to wear the cone of shame around his head. And it's just adding insult to injury. Just in case I didn't feel bad for the dog before, I do now. But that's not what I want to talk about. I guess I'm going to call this The Real Biker Part 3. Or the final chapter. As many of you probably know, I belong to a lot of Facebook groups and I tend to share motorcycle pictures out quite a bit. Really, I don't directly do it as marketing. A lot of it just is motivated by sharing pictures that I think people are going to dig. And if you happen to learn the name in the meantime, that's all good. And I was browsing through one of these groups and I saw that somebody asked the question, what's the difference between a biker and a motorcyclist? And I thought, oh gosh, here we go. And we've talked about this before. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch the other episodes on the real biker and who's a biker and what's a burger. But I've really put some thought into this. When somebody asks, you know, who's a real biker or even who's a biker, there's all kinds of opinions ranging from if you own a motorcycle to, you know, who's an outlaw biker. You know, if you're not a 1%er, you're not a real biker, etc., etc. And there are people that I always put in that category that I think, well, if anybody deserves the title of biker, it's them. You know, I think of Dale Waxler up at Wheels Through Time. That dude's been doing motorcycles all his life. I mean, almost literally all his life. And he's been a huge benefit to the community, and he's just a stand-up guy. And when I think of the image of a biker, I think Dale. Now, recently they had Gloria Struck up there. And if you don't know Gloria, look her up. Gloria Struck, S-T-R-U-C-K. Gloria's been riding motorcycles forever. I think she's in her 90s and might still be riding. But again, it's a lifetime spilled with motorcycle. Would Gloria consider herself a biker? I don't know. And quite honestly, Gloria has earned enough respect to call herself whatever she wants or doesn't want. But again, when I think of bikers, she'd be a really good candidate, and yet clearly not a one percenter. So maybe that's not the story. I was watching another video quite some time ago from a guy who I believe is in a club or might be in a major club. Talks like he's in a major club. I don't know. I don't watch him regularly. I just caught like one or two podcasts, and that was enough for me. But he was talking about this idea of being a biker. And I'm paraphrasing, but I don't think I'm too far off, that he said, if you're interested in riding motorcycles and it's all about the motorcycle for you and you just want to ride, etc., then you need to join a riding club. You don't need to join a motorcycle club, because that's not what they're about. But it was such a stark thing that I remembered it. I thought, wait, motorcycle clubs aren't about motorcycles. That's about something else. So at least according to one person, being in a motorcycle club isn't about motorcycles. Therefore, how could it qualify you to be a biker if it's not even about motorcycles? One of the guys posted to this original thread that I was looking at, and he said, well, I always think of the bikers of the 50s and 60s. They weren't necessarily one percenters, but they were usually outcast from society, and they lived a carefree life and did what they wanted. Well, that's anarchists. That's not necessarily bikers. You could be an anarchist and never get on a motorcycle. And I threw my 2 cents in, and I said, well, yeah, and if you actually go back another 10 to 20 years before that, they weren't even necessarily outcasts from society. They were maybe oddballs. I mean, why would anybody ride a motorcycle when there's a perfectly good car? Cars are the modern mode of transportation. And maybe that much has always been true, that motorcyclists / bikers have always been a little different. Not necessarily outcast, but a little different than the way everybody else thinks. I can own that. And I started typing out a bunch of response. This is what I think, that's what I think, blah, 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 blah. And it was a huge paragraph, and I finally just erased it all and responded to him. I said, I've got a lot of opinions on the subject, a lot of thoughts, but the internet doesn't need my opinion. There are those people, and I've mentioned them before, who are just like, it's a stupid question. If you have to ask, you're not a biker. I get the logic behind that, but I don't think asking a question disqualifies you from being anything essential to who you are. It's good to ask questions. And the thread went on and on. But, if you love to ride, you're a biker. A lot of people said, I never considered myself a biker. I considered myself a motorcyclist. And it really got me thinking about the answer to this question that, a lot of people want to know. And the problem with trying to answer the question is that I don't think anybody's defined what it is yet. And I guess that's what they're trying to do. That's the point. What is a biker? Well, the answer is nobody seems to know. Lots of opinions. I mean, you could look it up in the dictionary. And I started thinking that this question will never be answered until somebody makes a definitive definition, that's a redundancy, about what a biker is. What constitutes a biker? Right now we've got a bunch of opinions. If we all wanted to get together and vote on a definition of being a biker, I think that's where we are. But we're not there yet. We're still at that place where everybody walks in with their opinions. And maybe those guys who say it doesn't matter, you're an idiot for asking. Maybe what they're really saying is nobody knows. Nobody seems to know. I will say, in my personal opinion, right or wrong, that a lot of what people describe as being a biker, kind of fits into Easy Rider, which is, it's a Hollywood movie. It's not life. It's as Hollywood, or maybe more so, than the wild ones. And if you're going to let Hollywood dictate what a real biker is, y'all better start preparing to look like wild hogs. I saw a post the other day for Wild Hogs 2. I don't know if that was a hoax or what, if that was just, internet nonsense, but I actually thought that was interesting. Would I go see it? Sure. You bet I would. With all this hurricane stuff over, really need to get out and get some riding done. I've been feeling a little bit of depression coming on. And, we go through this. That's part of life. I'm not clinically depressed. I just, like everybody else, I get the blues. The big advantage for me is that I understand it's a stage. I'll get through it. It's just a matter of time. Sometimes I just get sad. Billy Gardell's routine. I can't go to work today. I'm sad. It's like, we're all sad. It's called a job. It all gets better about 5 o'clock. I think I see a shade of blue coming through the clouds. Nice. Plus, I want to get out and do some riding because, well, I don't want this whole channel to be all about me talking. I mean, that's okay, but it's not ideal. I want to get out and show you stuff. And now that Ms. Hurricane has moseyed through, might be time to do that. But I suspect a good ride will set me right. And before I forget, this week's shout out goes to I think you'll like the channel. Go show them some love, subscribe, give them a thumbs up, hit the bell, you know, the usual. And if you're not subscribed to this channel, you know, it surprises me because 78% of my views are for people who haven't subscribed. So, you know, it's free, but it does offer me great moral support. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you know when I post stuff. Man, I've been getting the motorcycle itch lately, not just to ride, but maybe something new. And I really can't afford it. No matter what I buy, I can't afford it. I'm working on paying down my bills right now. I am working on it very hard. But the thought of another bike is kind of coming around again. You know, I should just drop the money and get the R6. I would love to have an R6. That is the most beautiful sport bike. Well, except the H2, Kawasaki H2. That's a beautiful bike too. Not much of a Busa fan. Hopefully I didn't offend all my Busa viewers, which I'm guessing are none, zero, nada, goose egg. So that said, I'm going to wrap it up. I appreciate you being here, riding with me once again. And once again, I'm going to say, do something nice for somebody this week. Make the world a little bit better place. Maybe doing something nice means clicking on that subscribe button. I'm just saying. I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.